Here's a little question on collisions for M2, Edx M2 Jan 2010, question 2. On the right there I've just drawn the particles before and after collision, but take a moment to read the question. We'll fill in some information on that diagram in a moment. Resume the video when you're ready. So carrying on and putting some values in the diagram then, if this is P and this is Q, let's put the masses inside the circles. That's what I usually do with these questions so we don't get them mixed up. The top is before the collision and the bottom is after the collision then. They tell us P is moving like that and Q is moving like that. Moving in opposite directions, P with speed 2u, Q with speed u. After the collision, let's just call the speeds v1 and v2, like that. And they tell us the coefficient of restitution is e. We have to find the speed of P and the speed of Q. We've got to find v1 and v2 immediately after the collision. So we've got the principle of conservation of linear momentum to use first of all, which is 2m times 2u minus m times u for Q equals 2mv1 plus mv2. Now Newton's experimental law, or the law of restitution, I always quote it in this form. The velocities after collision is minus e times the velocities taken away in the same order before collision. So this gives us, in this case, v2 minus v1 equals minus e into minus u minus 2u. Just check where those come from. I've done v2 minus v1, which is the velocity of q afterwards, minus p, and that's minus e then times the velocity of q afterwards, the velocity of q before minus the velocity of p before. Now those two equations tidy up to v2 minus v1 equals 3eu, and v2 plus 2v1 equals 3u. So let's go to the next page and carry on with this. We've just got to solve those simultaneous equations now. I've written them down there, ready. To solve them, you'll notice there's a v2 in both. Let's subtract the second minus the first, and we get 3v1. That's right, 3v1 equals 3u minus 3eu. So v1 is u into 1 minus e. And that's the velocity of P. v2 is v1 plus 3eu then, which comes to be u into 1 plus 2e. And that's the velocity of Q afterwards. So that's it done. We've found what's required there for 7 marks. The specific allocation of marks there for the question was, let's just see, we had an M1A1 for each of the conservation of linear momentum and Newton's experimental law. Then we had an M1A1 for solving on the next page, for solving the simultaneous equations. We had an M1A1 and an A1 there. So that the way that works is M1 for solving the method for solving the equations, A1 for the velocity of P, and A1 for the velocity of Q. And that's it. Thank you for listening. I hope that was with some help.